So NFL analyst Chris Sims has a very intriguing take on our Baltimore Ravens. We also have Mina Kimes, who feels a little bit differently with some really exciting stats about the Ravens and the offense going into next season. Plus, we got the full schedule breakdown and predictions. So welcome in to another episode of Ravens Reports. It's your guy Noah here with For the Flock, as always, bringing you guys our top 5 news reports and storylines coming out of our Baltimore Ravens today. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Don't forget to go ahead and turn on that subscribe button and notification bell so we can keep you up to date on all of your Baltimore Ravens news and content. Man, we got a very fun and exciting summer of Ravens coverage coming for you guys, heading straight into the season, so you're not going to want to miss what we got for you guys. At number 1, let's talk about what Chris Sims had to say on our Baltimore Ravens.
Definitely one of the schedules I looked at and went, this is a little dangerous. A little dangerous in my opinion. Hey, the Ravens, we know they're good, but for as good as they were last year, right, they had as much roster turnover as I can remember a team in the championship game having in recent history. All the old linemen that are gone, Patrick Queen's gone, right? Deep group of guys that are not on the team that they flipped over. I'm not saying they're not going to be good. I know they're, this is the Ravens. They're going to be good, but like how good, how quickly? I guess that's what I'm saying. You lose 2 interior O linemen. Your tackles are gone. You got new guys there, new middle linebacker. The secondary is going to be completely different. That's where Derrick Henry's new to the mix. So that's where I look at the Ravens and go, yeah, I know they're the Ravens. I know they're going to be good. I get it. But it's not exactly the same team that we saw last year. It's the Chiefs week 1. You could certainly be 0-1. The Raiders, again, chippy, we know that. But, again, the Cowboys, the Bills, the Bengals, you go, hey, the Ravens aren't playing their best football there. They could be sitting there 2-3 or 1-4 a little bit and digging themselves in the hole. Like, there's real danger in that early part of the schedule, I guess is what I'm saying. It definitely opened my eyes.
Chris Sims makes some good points that the Ravens may have an adjustment period early on in the season, losing 3 out of their 5 starting offensive linemen. He also talks about the tough schedule with the Buffalo Bills, the Dallas Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Bengals, right? All these teams to start off your season with. But let's not forget that some of these other teams have some major turnover as well. The Buffalo Bills lost Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, their top 2 receivers in the same offseason, and they're getting older on defense, right? So every team has got their own issues, but let me tell you why I think the Ravens are going to start off just fine. First of all, if the defense does slumber a little bit and there is an adjustment period with the new defensive coordinator losing Patrick Queen and, Geno Stone and Jadeveon Clowney, some key pieces to the defense, let's not forget the Ravens should still have a top 5 offense to carry their team if the defense gives up some points. Because we're going into the second year with offensive coordinator Todd Monken. The Ravens had a top 5 offense last year. They were statistically dominant. They were good in DVOA. And they got guys coming back healthy. The main core on the offense will be intact. And let's not forget that Mark Andrews is coming back healthy, who's an all-pro tight end, who wasn't healthy towards the second half of the season last year. Or the fact that, Zay Flowers is going into his second year. Or the fact that the Ravens added one of the best running backs in NFL history in Derrick Henry, who's an absolute difference maker who can take over a game at any point in your offense. Or the fact that the Ravens have Lamar Jackson on their team. Lamar Jackson, the 2-time NFL MVP. Anytime he's healthy and he's out there, it doesn't matter who is around him, you got a chance to win. Here's what Mina Kimes said about the Ravens being even better on offense in 2024.
And when they passed out of those groupings, so a lot of times play action, 12 personnel, 0.57 EPA per play when they pass, which is unbelievable. It's the best in the NFL. 21 personnel, which is significant, by the way, because the Dolphins and the Niners use it so much, along with the Ravens. So you're going up against offenses that use it a lot and are very prolific. Still, first in EPA per play when they passed out of 21, more than the Dolphins and the Niners. So I feel like we saw sort of, okay, now they're really, really tying the run and the pass together. This passing attack is finally caught up to the rushing attack. Year 2 of that, I feel like it's going to be even better.
So out of 12 personnel last year, 1 running back and 2 tight ends, they were first in EPA, expected points added per play. That's absolutely crazy because they paired it with also being first in 21 personnel, 2 running backs and 1 tight end on the field. They were first in both of those categories. What's so exciting is the Ravens got some really good running backs and some really good tight ends that they're going to continue to throw play action off of, right? So if you thought it was good last year, I'm just saying, wait till you get Derrick Henry in this offense with some hard play action, some RPOs. Like, this is going to be fun. And Keaton Mitchell will be returning at some point in the season if all things go well. It's Justice Hill, and then the tight ends, and, the fullback there with Patrick Ricard, the tight ends with Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, and Kohler, man. This is going to be a really potent offense, even if the offensive line gets off to a little bit of a shaky start. Lamar Jackson is known for avoiding pressures and making magic things happen because he's one of the most gifted athletes on this planet Earth. That's just the reality of the situation. At number 3, let's talk about some takeaways from the schedule. So first of all, the thing that pops off, right, is the fact that the NFL is putting a lot of eyes on the Ravens this year. 7 nationally televised football games with 5 primetime night games. So a lot of eyes on the Ravens this year. And rightfully so. The Ravens were statistically, record-wise, every category, the best football team in the NFL last year, but fell short. Had a bad game in the AFC Championship against the Chiefs. And that's the reality of the situation. The Ravens lost some guys, but they gained some guys, and they have guys developing, some young guys that are going to step in. The Ravens are still going to be very good this year, and the NFL knows that. That's why, we have 5 primetime night games. What's exciting is the 2 home primetime games against the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. Those are going to be slobber knocker games, man, where, best on best, top of the class of the AFC are going at it. Those games are going to be fun. I'd love to make one of those games in person. Let me know in the comments if you're planning on being at any of the games. If you've already bought tickets, let me know. I'd love to hear it. The other thing that's kind of a downside here is that the Ravens will be on the road for Christmas again. They also have a stretch during the season where they're going to be playing 3 games in a matter of 10 days, which is really hard on a football player, on a football team. A lot of traveling, a lot on the body. 10 days to play 3 games is really just crazy. I don't know how the NFL lets that happen while still talking about player safety. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But also the last 3, that's going to be a challenging part here. Here's the schedule. With the last 3, you got 2 divisional games. Keep in mind, 2 of them are at home, so that's good. But 2 divisional games. Division games are tough. And then the Houston Texans, who are looking like they're going to be a powerhouse in 2024. They were good with C.J. Stroud in his rookie year last year, and he's going into his second year. They got some more weapons. They got Stephon Diggs. They got Nico Collins. They got Tank Dell. They got some guys on defense as well that they added on Danielle Hunter. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. So the last 3 games, 2 divisional games and a playoff team from last year in the Houston Texans. So the Ravens play a NFL high 10 playoff teams in 2024. The schedule is going to be tough, but that's part of having a first place schedule. You were first place in the division last year, so you get the first place schedule. That's just how it is. The Ravens played a lot of playoff teams last year, and they fared pretty well, having the NFL's best record at 13-4. So at number 4, let's reveal my prediction. So keep in mind, little humble pat on the back here from last year. I had the Ravens going 13-5, and that's what happened. So let's see if we can get anywhere close this year. I have a win against the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't convince me that with all these players that have had an entire offseason, every single workout, everything they do, training camp, and everything is going to be geared towards one mission, and that's beating the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 1 to get revenge for ending their hopes and dreams of a Super Bowl championship last year. You can't convince me that the Ravens aren't going to be ready to go win this game. I think they will. I think Derrick Henry is going to do Derrick Henry things, and the Ravens are going to find a way to beat the Chiefs, who, by the way, last year, if you look at their statistics and everything, their offense was not that great. Their defense was. They found a way to win in the playoffs. Mahomes made just the right throws on 3rd down and made enough things happen to where they went on a run and won another Super Bowl. But as far as their actual consistent production last year during a regular season, it wasn't that great. It wasn't anything special. The Chiefs lost in Week 1 last year to the Raiders on the NFL season opener. And I think they're going to do it again whenever the Ravens come into town and take care of business. I think the Ravens are going to get a handedly assured win against the Raiders Week 2, have them starting 2-0. Then here's where it gets a little bit spicy. I definitely think the Ravens can beat the Cowboys. No doubt. I think the Ravens can beat the Cowboys. But going on the road, playing in Dallas, Dallas also has a lot of talent with CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott. When he's on his game, he can play. I had the Ravens taking their first L here, and then a win against the Buffalo Bills, starting 3-1. I think the Bills, I'm not as scared of the Bills as a lot of people are, and I think the Ravens are going to get that win. And again, as the season comes on, we do our previews. We're going to dive into this way deeper, but I just wanted to kind of give you my initial thoughts and predictions. Week 5 against the Bengals, I really do think the Ravens have had the Bengals number over the last few years. The Ravens have really figured out defensively how to, match up against the Bengals and the concepts that Joe Burrow likes to run, and that offense with Zach Taylor and everything. And I think the Bengals defense, it's been kind of up and down, especially losing some guys like DJ Reader, and then you got Derrick Henry coming into town. I think the Ravens are going to beat the Bengals. And we have the season starting 4-1, and then 5-1. We get the win against the Commanders. The Commanders will either have Jacoby Brissett or Jaden Daniels, the rookie, starting. Either one of those quarterbacks, I think the Ravens will take care of, and that's at home. So 5-1 start, 6-1 once we go into Tampa Bay and beat the Buccaneers, led by Baker Mayfield. Then I have the Ravens taking another loss against the Cleveland Browns on the road. I think we're going to split with the Browns. I think the Browns are going to be a good football team. They're going to have a great defense with Myles Garrett and the secondary pieces they have there. Their pass rush is always good. They got some fast, talented linebackers like, Koromosu. They got a lot of really good players. And Deshaun Watson, he was starting to figure it out a little bit with the offense last year. He had his best game against Baltimore last year, and he put up 35 points on us. So I think we're going to split with the Browns. And have us starting 7-2. We go to 8-2 against the Broncos, 9-2 when we beat the Bengals again. Bengals fans aren't going to like that, but I think we're going to take care of business against the Bengals this year. The Steelers always play us really tough. I have us taking a loss against the Steelers, so we start off 8-3. The Steelers are going to be a really improved team. They got massive upgrades at the quarterback position, man. They went from last year having Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph to this year having Justin Fields, who is very talented and didn't really get a fair shake at things with the Bears. They also have Russell Wilson, who we know can make plays, Super Bowl winning quarterback as well. So, and the other big thing is they upgraded their defense with Patrick Queen. They upgraded the offensive line. They got a ton of really good talent on the offensive line now that's going to be completely transformed. And then a good run game with Najee Harris and Warren. So the Steelers are going to be something to reckon with this year. That's my opinion. Then I have us getting the win in the Harbaugh Bowl. John Harbaugh versus Jim Harbaugh, where the LA Chargers tried to become the Baltimore Chargers or whatever with all the Ravens. They added the offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, the Harbaugh connection, grabbing their new general manager, Joe Ortiz, who was the director of scouting personnel here for the Ravens. So I have the Ravens starting 9-3. Then we get a win against the Eagles. That'll be fun to see Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith versus Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, and Zay Flowers. That's going to be a really fun game, but I think the Ravens at home are going to take care of the Eagles. Then we have the bye week, and it's a really late bye week, week 14. That's the latest the NFL can give out the bye week, so that's going to be really much needed there. And then they're going to be well rested and absolutely stomp the New York Giants. I think they're going to take care of business there. Daniel Jones, plus the Ravens are historically good coming off a bye. And then we got another win against the Steelers. Like I said, I have the Ravens splitting with the Steelers, getting the win at home, losing away. You could flip-flop those. So at this point, the Ravens are 12-3, which at this time of the season will probably be the number one seed in the AFC, depending on how the Chiefs and some other teams fare. But then I have the Ravens taking a loss against the Houston Texans, who like I said, that's going to be a really good team, and that's going to be away. There's probably going to be a lot on the line for that game, especially for the Texans fighting in their really tough division. And I had the Ravens taking an L there and then getting a win the following week at home against the Browns, which the date is to be determined on that one. So had the Ravens finishing the year at 13-4. I really do think the floor for this team is 11 wins as long as Lamar's healthy, and we stay relatively healthy elsewhere. I think the Ravens, the floor is 11 wins, and I could see a ceiling of, up to 14 wins. I think the offense is going to be really, really good. I think the defense could have some struggles early with the new coordinator in Zach Orr, as well as adjusting to the loss of Patrick Queen and Clowney. But I think overall, the Ravens defense will round out to be a really good group by the end of the season, and the Ravens will have one of the best offenses again in 2024 under Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson. So let me know all of your thoughts, your predictions in the comments section below. What will the Ravens go in 2024? What will their record be? I'd love to hear your thoughts, man. Don't forget to smash the like button if you got any value out of today's content. I love you guys and appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ray, when he wasn't looking, he ran me over.